Hello, today we're going to look at resizing the graphing window so that you can look more closely at the graph and then perhaps find solutions to whatever your assignment is requiring. Last time we entered equations and found the graphs. Now I'm going to go ahead and enter this equation. Inappropriate viewing windows, right under that is x squared x to the 6th minus 2x to the 4th. Okay, I'm going to enter that right here. Y is equal to x caret 6, right arrow, because I want to get out of the exponential position. Subtract 2x caret to the 4th. Okay, we're all set. The viewing window is at the x is from -10 to 10, and the y window, part of the window, is from -10 to +10. We're all set to graph this. And it's an interesting graph, but what if we want to find the intersection of that graph with the x-axis or the 0? Well, this isn't really useful to eyeball that solution. So the best way is to resize the window. We did have it at -10 to +10 in the x and the y direction. I'm going to go ahead and change this to -2 to +2 in the x and the y direction. So I'm going to press the window key, top of the keyboard, -2, enter, 2, enter, y is -2, enter, 2, enter. Okay, we're all ready. Hit the graph key, and that is just way better. There's other zoom keys we can use. Or I haven't shown you the zoom yet. Okay, if I want to zoom into the standard 10 by 10, first I hit the zoom key, and this is really a shortcut to size the window. The standard is -10 to +10 in both coordinate directions. So I'm going to move it down to 6 for the standard. Hit enter, and it's going to zoom the graph back into where we started. How about zooming in closer? Zooming in is going to be 2, so I'm going to scroll down to 2, enter, enter. Oh, that is just way quicker. I like that zoom key. And it has brought up the cursor. You can see the cursor is right at the origin of the graph at 0 and 0. I'm going to hit clear and show you how to do that. Okay, that took the cursor off the 0, 0 point. Now if I hit enter, no, that didn't do it. Okay, so I'll hit the right arrow, and you can see the cursor is right there, not at the origin, but right next to the origin. I'll hit the left arrow, and it brings back to the origin. So this is a really good tool to use if I want to find some point on my graph. What are the coordinates? You can see when the cursor is in place, I've got my X coordinate and Y coordinate at the bottom of the screen. Let's say I want to find out where this graph crosses the X-axis to the right. I'm going to go ahead and use the right arrow, and it'll slowly move me across the screen. Right, 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 right. And it looks like my 0 for y is at x is equal to 1.4. The cursor isn't exact, but it can give you a good idea of how to find what values are at certain points. Let's say that we want to find the minimum of this curve just slightly to the left. That is where the curve goes down and then starts to curve back up. So I'm going to go ahead and do down, down, down. And this is just going to move it in the y direction. The cursor just works in either the x or the y direction. Now I'm going to move it over there to the left. And the minimum is approximately at x is equal to x is positive 1.155 and y is negative 1.189, approximately. This is kind of crude. It's not as exact as algebra, but it works. Now I'm going to show you a different way to do this. So I'm going to hit the clear, get rid of the cursor. I still have my graph. If I hit it twice, it would clear the graph, and I would have to just regraph it. The next way to find a point is to use the trace button. It's there slightly to the left of the zoom button, right below the screen. So I'm going to hit trace. When I hit trace, you see it brought back up the cursor and the coordinates of that point. Trace is different than the cursor. It's going to follow the curve of the graph. As I use my right arrow, I can only use my right or left arrow with trace. Okay, the minimum seems to be at x is 1.174 and y is negative 1.18, which is about what we had before. Now, using the right arrow, whoops, went too far. Use the left arrow. Not great, but that intersection point is approximately x is equal to 1.14 and y is almost 0. This isn't exact, but it's a little bit better in some ways than just using the cursor. Now, the third way to find that, to find the intersection of that graph with this with the x-axis, I'm going to hit clear to get rid of that cursor, is to use the calc button, the calc function. So you can see calc is the second function of trace. I'm going to hit second trace, and I want to find the 0. That's going to be the 0 of the graph. I move it down to 0, then hit enter, and it wants to know what left bound is. So looking at the graph, I want to find the intersection of that graph with the x-axis. I need to somehow move it slightly to the left of that point so the TI-84 knows what it's dealing with. There, it's slightly to the left and below, but to the left. Hit enter. That's my left bound. Now it wants the right bound. I'm going to use the right arrow and go above, but to the right of that intersection point. Hit enter a second time. Great. We've got that point bracketed. And now it says, what's a guess for that number? I'll just move the cursor to between those two bounds. It doesn't have to be exact. Hit enter a third time, and there it is. We have x is equal to 1.4142136 at y is equal to 0. So the solution for this graph is x is equal to 1.4 and y is equal to 0. I'll show you more on the next video. Take care, and go ahead and try some of this on your own.